Your lungs in a cup. This entire tutorial is geared towards my kinesthetic learners because they're actually producing a product with their hands and manipulating cups and straws, scissors, and tape. This particular slide is geared towards my verbal and linguistic learners and my visual and musical learners. Visual because there'll be images of the actual respiratory system on this slide. Musical because I have sound effects of breathing on it. And finally, my verbal and linguistics because the narration, I will leave the text on the page as I also read the narration. The narration reads at the bottom, "Your respiratory system is made up of a series of tubes and passages that transport the air we breathe. It involves the exchange of gases between the air, your blood, and your tissues. The main parts are the nose, mouth, epiglottis, throat, trachea, lungs, bronchial, alveoli, and diaphragm." Now, like I said, there will be images to support these on the page. This slide mentions the materials that are needed. I'll have digital photos of the actual items that will be needed to make the lung. Also, my interpersonal learners will enjoy this because they'll actually be having their own manipulatives in front of them and they won't have to share them with other people in the class. The narration, like I said, will benefit the auditory learners, and the text left on the page will benefit the visual learners. And I will say you will need 1 plastic cup, 2 straws, 1 large, 2 small balloons, pointed scissors, duct tape, rubber band, and clay. And then the kinesthetic learners will be able to manipulate these things later on in the slides. This is step 1 of the tutorial. Once again, there will be a digital image of the clear plastic cup, a pair of scissors, showing it cutting a hole in the top. The split screen, one side will be the picture and the other side will be the directions that they can follow. There will also be a sound effect of the cutting in these voice instructions. Make a hole with a pair of scissors at the bottom of the clear plastic cup. Be careful not to tear or fracture the cup. This will benefit my logical and mathematical learners because they're satisfying their curiosity of how an actual lung works. They're working towards seeing how an actual lung works by putting together the pieces. This is step 2 of my tutorial. It involves a picture of showing duct tape wrapped around 2 straws. This is going to address my interpersonal intelligence students because since I only have 14 computers for 35 students, there's going to be 2 or 3 students per computer, and they're going to have to work together to watch the tutorial and understand the tutorial. Therefore, if one student works faster than the other, it won't work because they need to keep at the same pace. Not too slow, not too fast, but all students are able to follow the tutorial. And intrapersonal, once again, is addressed because every single student has their own supplies that they're manipulating. Step 3, attach the smaller balloons to the ends of the 2 straws with the duct tape. Once again, helps the kinesthetic learners. Plus, with the text on the left side, that'll help the verbal and linguistic learners, and the pictures on the right will help the visual and spatial learners. And since it's a very logical step-by-step format, much like a mathematical equation or problem. It'll help the logical students as well. Step 4, put the straw through the cups of the balloons, which represent the lungs, are inside the cup. You will have to go through the wide opening of the cup and thread the straw's ends without the balloons on them into the hole, leaving the end with the balloons inside the cup. Next, use the clay to seal the hole around the straws so no air can get in. It must be an airtight seal. This is very kinesthetic because you're manipulating all of the straws through one hole at the end of a cup. Step 5. Cut the neck of the large balloon and throw away the neck. You will use the other end of the balloon to stretch over the open end of the cup. Step 6. Take the remainder of the balloon and cover the opening end of the cup. Use the rubber band to hold the balloon in place. This step requires your interpersonal skills because a partner will be needed to hold the cup while one person stretches the balloon over the bottom. If a partner is not used, you run the risk of breaking the cup, so you need to rely on others for this step. Now it's time for the naturalist to see how the lung actually works and make the connection from the model to the real world. Push and pull the large balloon, which is the diaphragm covering the cup's end, and watch the two small balloons, or the lungs, inside of the cup. You should see them inflate, which means you're inhaling. This is because as you pull the large balloon down, it increases the size of the cavity, thus decreasing the air pressure, so the air pressure wants to go from high pressure to low pressure. And then you're going to deflate, which is exhale. As you push the large balloon up at the bottom, which is acting as a diaphragm, it'll make the cavity smaller, thus creating higher pressure in the lung, and the air in the lungs will want to be released, going to a lower pressure area. If this doesn't work, as you pull the balloon down to inhale and up to exhale, then you need to see if any extra air is getting in around the straws or any cracks in the cup. If it is, add more clay around the opening to fix it. As for my Section 508, when considering disabilities, I have two students, an autistic student and a newcomer. The newcomer has only been in the United States for a short time and doesn't speak very much English. But with all the images, text, voice instructions, and the fact that they're working in groups of 2 or 3 students, both students will be given multiple opportunities to interpret the information and have help from the other student if needed. I do have Alpha Smarts for the writing portion of the lesson, but no writing will take place during this tutorial. It's simply manipulating the manipulatives to create a working lung.